Yes, everyone. In this query, I just want to show you guys how you can be able to use a statement called pivot to twist how the data is being presented when you retrieve it from your table. You know, so in this case, we want to use the statement called pivot. There is one called pivot to return how the data was presented. That one is called pivot, but currently we are using pivot. We want to use it here. So now, what I says here is that I'm asking SQL Server in my database to select person's ID in this form as because the ID that I already know the ID. So this is the first ID. I'm asking SQL Server to name it as cost 1, this ID as cost 2, cost me by customer, but just says in a short way, this very ID as cost 3, 1, 4, and the same thing. This goes to this. Okay, from select from this sales order ID. This is where it's going to select all these IDs and turn it into this cost, all these names. I renamed it, so it's going to select it from here. That's why I said from here, sales order ID, customer ID, and sales person's ID, the person that did the transaction for them, from sales order header table. This three is columns, and this is the main table that I want to select this data from, where salesperson's ID is not null, means it's not empty, as P. Name it as P. Then this is the statement pivot to twist it, calculate salesperson's sales order ID from customer ID in these IDs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This ID I've already renamed them here. This is how it's going to bring it. I said as pivot ordered by salesperson ID. But there is one thing I want to do here, because before you could be able to do all these things that I'm doing, you must have the information of that particular table that you want to retrieve the data from and change how the data is being presented when you retrieve them. You must have this information, because I've already known this information. If I don't know it, I couldn't be able to write all these IDs and change these IDs. So you must know that. So before I could be able to do this, let me just show you how I've already known the IDs. So this is where I want to retrieve this data. Okay, let's do this. Let's go here. So this is the particular columns and the table I want to retrieve this information from. So let's run this query first. Now, this is the IDs of the sales order IDs. This is the customers' IDs, those customers that bought the item. This is the salesperson that attends them, that sell these items to them, IDs. So I want to change how this information is being presented in another form. So to change it is called pivot. Pivoting is to change something formula. So okay, so you see how this thing is being presented. So I want to change this result again in another form. So now this is where the pivot comes in. So let's run this query now and see how it's being presented. You see, it has changed. It says salesperson's ID cost 1, customer 2, customer 3, customer 4, and 5 and 6. This is the salesperson that attends them. You have already pivoted it, you have already twisted it in another form. So this is the other one I've shown you. This is originally how it was lined up in the original table, but I want to we have already changed it in another form to present the result in another formula, which is that's why we use the statement that is called pivot to twist it and present it in another form. So now this is how the item is being presented. This item, this pivot is, I think I have encountered this statement in Excel, as Excel, Microsoft Excel. Yes, you can be able to pivot tables in yes, it's Excel. Yes, and the other one, so this statement is very common in DBA, running in table, how you derive data from your tables. All right, thank you very much for seeing this video. See you some other time. Okay, bye for now.